Hello, I'm your host, Aaron Michael Babcock. Welcome to Constitutional Republic Now News for You. So, the subject today is flipping blue states to red states and your actions towards the governor. The first 10 items you need to do right off the bat to protect your state citizens and our country's citizens. It's very important. Number one. Okay, first off, you have to reprint the Washington State Constitution and all your state constitutions because they're out of date and no one's done it. So it's very important that every citizen has a copy to know their rights and to run their state normal. And it's very important that everyone knows this. It'll reduce crime because they'll know more right and wrong and common sense. So the other thing is they need to reprint constitutional law books like this. This one's on Principles and Policies by Erwin Chemerinsky. And the other one looks like this by Joanne Banker Hames and Yvonne Eckern. It's Principles and Practice, Constitutional Law. So, have a distribution campaign of documents to all the citizens. You have to pay volunteers if you really want to flip a state. If you want it more of the same, extortion over taxation, and you want the same old, or you say, oh, one county rules it all every single election, so I don't even vote or do anything. Well, you can do something. You can distribute right there in that whole county. So you have to pay the volunteers in every county if you want it to flip. If you don't pay them, no one just volunteers anymore like 20, 30 years ago. Okay, those days are over. There are a few good volunteers out there, and God bless them. But there's not in large numbers like the other party usually has. So you have to pay your volunteers a whole bunch of money to distribute good documents. So the first thing in office as a new governor, you have to nullify all unconstitutional laws, like red flag laws as an example, and sanctuary. Those two are the top ones that have to be nullified. So what's nullify is just dumping the laws. And basically, in the state of Missouri, years ago, they voted on dumping 20,000 federal gun laws. And they were done with. And so if they can, this state can, or any other state can. So learn about nullification and talk to your governor about nullification, whether he believes in it. And some don't. Then they can claim a Republican title. So that's how you know that they're going to hold on to unconstitutional laws. So you better talk about that first. The other thing is on sanctuary, it comes out of the common law history book, sanctuary. It's from an old term from British law before our country was around. It was the first laws pre-Constitution. So when they don't like the Constitution, like naturalization, they go back before the country even started and use sanctuary and change the laws that way to get away from the Constitution because they're trying to progress past it and not use the Constitution. So you have to distribute naturalization documents and it goes back to normal. Then there is a smaller amount of people that go legal through our border and it's normal because of jobs and they're going through a legal process and that is just fine. But when you call it sanctuary, it invites everyone for asylum and criminals, armed gangs and cartels use people, and there's the drug problem. There is a lot of problem. There's fraud. They're taking our social security numbers and all the other tech fraud on phones. And there's a ripple effect from New York all the way here. So what's happening in New York is going to eventually happen here if you do not get a head start on it. So it's got to turn. So go back to naturalization. Or it'll be your fault. So, moving on. That's number 2. So you got nullification of unconstitutional laws. like red flag laws. That is an order that where you're guilty first, like an ex calls, oh, he's mental, and they take your guns and they just go in your house, take your weapons. They can call you all types of stuff medically, and there's nothing you can do about it. You have to prove your innocence to get all your stuff back, and it's unconstitutional. So what happened is when that law's around, people just didn't overturn it. So every law is connected to it where you feel guilty, and the justice system gets more and more corrupt because there's no due process, equal protection of law. Then everyone doesn't go by the Fifth Amendment or the 14th, and there's no equal protection of the law because they're trying to push equity, of course, in those Democrats, and try to be all racial all the time in the media. They play the race card, and they're going to do it in this election too in 2024. They already began. So to get away from the race card, that we're all American citizens with whatever background, go back to normal. So nullification, naturalization. Number 3, make sure that distribution campaign of constitutional documents is on the way. Otherwise, after they dump the laws, they won't know what to do. Well, it's called, oh, they got the Constitution back. So the government's got to do that third. So on national security, you got to go to the Coast Guard and make sure, give a grieve status, make sure they have all their equipment and their ethics and law, the company's doing good. If you're a governor, you need to go visit the Coast Guard and make sure they got everything they need because they're protecting us. Then you got to go to Homeland Security and dig out all the paperwork that there was violations of the previous governor and expose that to the media and let them know that, hey, Homeland Security didn't do all these protections for your state. And that's very important to go through that paperwork. So then you go to the National Guard and say, oh, well, how's your funding? You should have left the state long ago to go help people at the other southern border to protect your state because we're all United States. So that's another subject. So you got to go on down the top 10 list on protecting the citizens. Then you have to go to a Constitutional Republic mobile unit where people can vent face-to-face with their representatives. So you can't just go online and vent. You like bottle it up inside, and it's not very psychologically good to get all mad online. There's cyberbullying and whatever. But if you go to a rally, you kind of get to write it out on paper, and your representative you vote for on stage is going to do your grievances. Top 10 federal grievances, state, county, city, and if they don't, you vote them out. And it's a way to dump out your problems with the government, and that's the way it should go. So start with that. Get a fundraiser for that mobile unit to go county to county 4 times a year, spring, summer, autumn, winter. That's the true climate that changes. 4 seasons. And throw away the climate change laws. Deregulate all the environmentalist things down to common sense, to a limited regulation, because they're going after water on farmers and trying to shut down all the farms because they're invested in China with the big pharma that gives them all that money, and they collaborate to get rid of all the farms. They did, there was arsonists years ago on processing plants like all across the states, and even in Ireland, I believe, on the potatoes. And now they're going after the Idaho potatoes, using the water curtailing problem. So, and then you got Oregon shutting down some farmers. So look into that. That's pretty bad. And as far as industrial, they pay all their fines because they make so much money that they don't really work. So there's a lot of things that we got to fix in our state. We have a lot of lead in our waters of the Columbia River from fishing lures. We could clean that out and have cleaner water and use that lead for ammunition. And we could have people scuba dive for that and have a good time doing it. So the environmentalists will be happy. There'll be cleaner water. And the pro-law enforcement, back to blue type people will be very happy with their ammunition. So I will talk to you later, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So that's some things we can do in our state to make it better. We have a lot of other protective problems to work on, like the dikes might need rebuilt. before there's a major flood to flood both of our towns. There was a lot of soot from Mount St. Helens underneath the big rock, and it's really eaten away underneath, and it could flood the whole area if the dams ever break. There's a natural soot dam up by the Cowlitz River area, and it could become a really big problem if they don't fix it. The Army Corps of Engineers could do that, and if I was governor, I'd have the Army Corps of Engineers do it, and because they do a good job. And to prove that, all you got to do is look at the town of North Bonneville. It's a government town. They had to move it over to put the second powerhouse in for the Bonneville Dam, and they did an awesome job with that town. It was new pipes, just the cleanest water in the state in the late 70s and the early 80s. You wouldn't believe it. It's just awesome. So they had the cleanest water because the Army Corps of Engineers did the water setup. So anyway, I'll talk to you later. God bless you and take care. And I hope we can turn our state to a red state and go back to the Constitution and have a constitutional republic, ethics, and law, which will reflect the democracy from that true constitutional republic that we are. And everyone will live a lot better. There'll be less mandates and a lot more freedoms. And we can bring back like firearm businesses that got ran out on the commerce bans and things like that. So make sure you have your top 10 Supreme Court win documents or a top 100 when you go to court. Every single gun owner, get your documents, a whole bunch of wins. Go from Heller to the Bruen case, all the way to top 10, and just distribute all those wins. And we will defeat all those anti-commerce, gun grabbers, and anti-Bill of Rights type people. So I'll talk to you later. And please like and subscribe if you like my channel. Take care.